United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, thank you for getting us all here safely tonight. Help us make the best decision for the city of Boonville. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Michael. Roll call.
Stock,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Meadows,
Here.
Cowherd,
Here.
Harville,
Here.
Overt,
Here.
Venable, Turner.
Here. All right. Hearing of citizens' comments. Is anybody that wants to get up and make a comment, please do so. Okay. Approval of minutes. It'll be the approval of the February 6th council minutes, page 3 to 5. Is there a motion?
There's no motion necessary. Just
We'll
stand up.
we'll take it as they are submitted. Okay, there are no consent items. Presentation of accounts and claims, you were given this by Amber. It's a single page. And that would be page 6. Go, Amber.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on February 21, 2023. The sum of $409,904.65. General fund, $176,757.07. Sanitation, $55,123.61. CIP tax, $33,406.27. Waterworks, $44,698.32. Capital projects, $24,793.21. Wastewater, $61,120.74. Tourism, $13,290.26. Gaming, $117. Parks and Water, $598.17. Gifford sales tax, $0.00. Economic Development Projects, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $409,904.65, being the total of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage, first reading on February 21, 2023, read for the second time this February 21, 2023, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I make a motion that we pay these accounts.
Thank you, Susan. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, unfinished business. We're going to do second reading of bill number 2023-04, amending sanitation rates. Is there a motion?
You can let Amber read it.
Okay,
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri adopting a new schedule of administrative fees, Appendix G in the Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore and repealing parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
is there a motion?
I move.
Thank you, Susan. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions, comments?
I have one question on this bill. When we talk about in the second paragraph, we talk about the city staff has evaluated some of our procedures and so forth and so on. When we talk about evaluating this event, what does that entail?
Well, in this case, it's obviously looking at the budgeting for the next fiscal year, so evaluating what we have staff-wise, evaluating what our expectations are with waste management, and then if there is procedures or costs associated with those, what those are.
Does it include looking at other options, alternatives to this?
Yeah,
How do we know what those are? I mean, if you looked at other alternatives, how do we know
well,
what those other alternatives may have been?
so on the sanitation rate specifically, this would be the case of where I brought the recommended increase. If, as a council, you had told me that you wanted me to look at reducing that, that was what I figured we needed just to do the bare minimum. If you said, no, we're not willing to do that, obviously Waste Management is gonna get their amount. No matter, I guess there might be an option if you wanted me to look and see, push on that, but I don't know what it would be. You would look at trying to cut your sanitation budget, which inherently usually ends up cutting personnel salaries and benefits, particularly in the sanitation fund.
Okay, I guess the only thing that I was really driving at here is when we start looking at these types of ordinance that whatever some of the other options are, that, we are considering those and not just going directly to fee increase. It sounds like you're saying you do that.
Correct. I mean, when I sit down to do these budgets, I'm looking at what it would take to hopefully meet the capital needs, the agreements that we have with professional services or whatever, and then try to see where we need to be at. And then, again, should at the work sessions, council say, well, what would it be if we did 5 instead of 6 or something? Then I would work that number backwards.
Okay.
Did we have a flat rate percent on this, or did it vary by schedule?
This is a flat rate, so everybody is charged the same sanitation rate across the board.
I know on the stuff highlighted, that's what's changing. And where's the water rate on this?
We haven't talked about water yet, but it is going to be right above it on page 6, that we haven't addressed any of the water rates. This is just referring to the sanitation rate for the budget.
So today is the sanitation fee only?
Correct.
6%.
Any other questions?
And then just as a reminder, this is 3.55 is going to Waste Management, and the remainder comes to the city for our internal health. And then also, just again, I wanted to add that the increased sanitation rates that we're paying to Waste Management take effect January 1, which is why we've moved this reading up, because we are paying for the increase in trash collection currently. We're floating that cost right now.
Motion?
We have a first and a second already.
Roll call.
Stock,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Gilbert,
No.
Turner,
No.
Motion passes. New business. Item A, first reading of bill number 2023-005, approving the 2023-2024 budget, page 19.
An ordinance accepting and approving the budget for the City of Boonville, Missouri for the period of April 1, 2023 through March 31, 2024.
Thank you, Amber. Item B, first reading of bill number 2023-006, approving a final site plan for 512 Investments, lot number 2. It's on page 21 through 33.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the final site plan for 512 Investments at 1290 Locust Street, Lot 2A, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Amber. Item C, First reading of bill number 007, approving a final plat for Fox Hollow, Phase 1. It's on pages 34, 35, 36.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the final plat for Fox Hollow subdivision, Plat 1, located adjacent to Hill Ridge Golf Course.
Item D, first reading of bill number 2023-008, approving a rezoning application for Hill Ridge Golf Course. It's on page 37 through 50.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the rezoning application for Hill Ridge Golf Course located at 17511 Highway 87.
Okay. Item 9, reports of standing committees. A is Boonville Housing Authority. It's on page 51. Any questions or comments?
We had a question at the last meeting about something I wanted to point out. If you guys, if I can. Yeah, we were at 96%. Last month, we had one person pass and one other evac, basically leave. So it did pull us down to 48 of 50 units occupied. Somebody had asked about the wait list. There are 38 people on the wait list. I had Bob pull that and give that to me. They're in various stages of approval. So there's at least 38 people. So even if you look at a turnover of like 2 a month, I would say it's at least a 2-year wait list.
Yeah.
So there's 38 people on the wait list now. So I wanted to provide that info because I didn't see that in this. So
Good.
Is that individuals, families? What is the makeup of that wait
it's
list?
38 applicants.
38 applicants.
So, yeah. And that's individuals and families.
It could be a mix of it.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Item B, planning and zoning.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
I just want to say before we let Albert talk, I want to apologize that we're still getting used to the new system and we didn't get the planning and zoning minutes in the packet. So I will email those to you guys tomorrow, but I'll turn it over to Albert.
Planning and zoning met on February the 14th, took up 4 matters, one being the property at 1290 Locust Street. The 512 Investment Company owns that property, and that was approved pending lighting for the parking lot. Second matter was Fox Hollow Phase 1 final site plan. That was reviewed and approved. Rezoning of Hell Ridge Golf Course. Another issue we reviewed and it was approved. And the last matter was recreation marijuana zoning discussion. And I think the feeling there was that this would be right in line with medical, same zoning that we have for medical marijuana.
And then also we need some public hearings to set some public hearings.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So in order to do the rezoning for Hale Ridge and then also the recreational marijuana zoning, those require a public hearing. So I'm asking council to make a motion to set a public hearing on March 20th, which will be a council meeting at 7 p.m. to take up both of those issues so we can move forward with them.
March 20th?
Motion?
So move.
Thank you, Albert.
I'll second.
Second, Andrew. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Doc?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Calvert?
Yes.
Horrible?
Yes.
Albert?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Any reports of city officials? Got some work to do on committee appointments. What I would ask the council to do is if you've got some friends or neighbors that would like to get onto some of these committees, we would appreciate it. And we'll proceed over the next 3 meetings. to see if we can get those spaces filled. That was number one. I didn't have a number two.
Heather Overstreet with Planning and Zoning.
Yeah, that's great, great. Good reminder, thank you. Some of you will remember Heather Overstreet, the young lady with the dog keeping, where we had a resignation on planning and zoning. And I asked Heather if she would be interested in filling that chair. She's a sharp lady, and I think she will serve us well. So could I have a motion to add her to planning and zoning?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Barry, appreciate that. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call. Thanks
Stark,
for that
Yes.
reminder.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Kelhert,
Yes.
Corval,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, city administrator?
I guess just, I want to make a few last comments from the work session. You guys had more to say than I thought, so I didn't get to wrap it up quite as I thought I might get to, and that's okay. Just a couple things, again, to go back to the conversation earlier. If there is any changes that you would like me to bring forward in some sort of alternative budget, I would like to have them sooner rather than later, so if we could have that discussion and the miscellaneous, and then also we need to discuss our plans for wastewater treatment plant. As you know, there's sort of two budgets out there. One, keeping it in-house for now, and one, moving it over with Alliance. Both of those budgets are complete and balanced, it's just a matter of what direction you guys want to go. So if we can carry that conversation into the miscellaneous section, I'd appreciate it.
That it? City clerk?
Nothing.
Okay, now we're in miscellaneous. Let's start with the water and sewer decision to be with Alliance or to be our own. Anybody have any thoughts?
I think your professional management will be, in the long run, the best way to go. I think you'll cover your future, any future problems a lot easier that way.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Andrew?
Yeah, I agree with Steve. I think as we have the personnel that are very experienced in that work for the city as they're moving out in retirement, I think it gives us a good opportunity to move towards private management of that. And also, I think it takes away a lot of liability and responsibility from the city. So I wholeheartedly support going with the Alliance
Okay,
plan.
thank you.
I did have I've had a lot of feedback on it, like internally in my head, and I've done a lot of outsourcing work in my previous jobs, a lot. I lived in India for 3 years doing outsourcing. And I will say one thing that bothers me about that, about the whole idea of outsourcing, is that it's going to cost us additional money. And I've never done outsourcing, and I've outsourced thousands of jobs. I've never done outsourcing where it costs you more money. And that, I do have to say that. And that's one issue that's kind of sticking with me. So I don't know if that's some way we can negotiate. I've never seen outsourcing cost additional money. So.
Susan?
I understand what Cy is saying, but I also think that having a company like Alliance manage it, the cost in dollars and cents may not always jive, but the quality and training and retention of employees may make up for that, may balance out, and you can't necessarily reflect that in dollars and cents. So I would like to see it be moved to Alliance.
Okay. Andrew?
Kate, I thought the impact of the budget was minimal.
I thought we had said 25,000.
23,000
Out
or
of a
something,
budget of
Yeah.
5 million
$5
between the
million.
two.
So
More
we're,
than we budgeted.
I mean, we're talking, I think we said a couple tenths of a percentage or something. I mean,
Right.
it was very, very minimal, so.
I don't, there, also.
Go ahead.
If you have people working for us, and I've thought about this, and I think I had a discussion about it, but anyway, maybe in my own head. You got 4 people, you're paying for their insurance. You're paying their wage. Their liability insurance, all that, I'm assuming we still have to take care of the buildings. That's still on us? It is right, because I've been involved in a lot of outsourcing with delivery companies, and it's always been cheaper. So I don't know, it's gonna happen eventually, because that's where we're headed, so, but Si's got it right, it does seem weird that it's higher, but it is minimal.
Yeah, I just wonder if, one thing we had talked about was the saving on chemicals that they can do by doing mass purchases and stuff like that. If there's any way we can flush that out to show that it's gonna be a net benefit, I mean, to actually make it a net zero cost going to Alliance, that would make it, that would sell it to me. And I know that, I'm not sure that you can ever do it because you can't anticipate what price of chemicals are gonna be like next year or whatever. But if there's any way in which it would be a net zero, I mean, that's my biggest drawback. So just throwing it out there, being honest, so.
I'm probably going to vote for this, but I will tell you, I'm concerned in 2 areas. One is the slippery slope here. Waste management, water department, now we're talking about wastewater. And I just think, my deep belief is that we ought to be managing it ourselves with employees from this city. So that concerns me somewhat. Of course, nothing against Alliance. I'm just talking in general about outsourcing. That's my view. The other side of it that seems to me that's outside of the equation is the employees themselves that's involved in it. What do they feel about it? Should they have a voice in this thing? And I don't know that they have, and I think that's very good. I don't know the young man or the guy that's second in command. Richard, what's his name, right? I don't know why he shouldn't be given the opportunity. I think the conversation was that there would need to be additional training or whatever to take the full scope of the job. And I think everybody that's come through that probably had to go through training, so what's the difference there? So again, I'm probably gonna vote for it, but I do have some reservations, and those are the 2 main reservations that I have. So that's where I'm at.
Thanks, Albert.
I thought there was some comment in previous meetings that the staff were favorable, their view was favorable towards working with Alliance. Did I misread something?
It's Jeff and I's recommendation that we move with Alliance, and we did talk to Richard because he is the number 2 currently about this matter. To be honest with you, we have not had this conversation with the rest of the staff, primarily because if you didn't want to go down this route, then I didn't want, I don't want to need,
Right,
and so we were kind of waiting for all the pieces to fall into place. And if we do end up going down this route, Alliance also has a clear process by which they all come in and they do meetings with these people. So there's a whole transition process. Should you choose to go down this route, Jeff and I will start that conversation as well. So there are some people which they will, now they'll know this conversation is on the table, but until it was the right conversation to have, we haven't had it.
Okay.
Barry?
I was just wondering, we was talking about personnel, and I thought in personnel, it should be a closed meeting. Maybe this should be in a closed meeting,
At this point in time, I think it's appropriate to have this conversation in public. It will come out, obviously, through a resolution or an ordinance to contract with them. And I kind of wanted to, I think at this point in time, it's better to have the conversation in the open so that not only you guys, but then you might hear some feedback between now and the next meeting that you would want to take from citizens as well.
Did that answer?
No.
it didn't answer me at all because you were talking about two people's jobs here. You know, I mean, whether they go with the Lions or do they have to go someplace else? They might end up out in Kawasaki or something if they don't want to work with the Lions. That's why I think that you should be having this in person, in a closed session. Because now you let the cat out of the bag, what's gonna stop them from leaving if they don't want to work with
It's true.
Alliance?
Nothing, but again, it's actually, when we talk about personnel,
But
it's a
wouldn't you
closed
say,
session.
but wouldn't you say, since the cat's out of the bag, they come in tomorrow and says, I quit. And then there you are, you know?
It's a risk. You're right.
I just want to clarify, when we talk about personnel as a closed session, that is a different sort of scope. So when, personnel typically refers to if you are hiring, firing, or disciplining a person. And at this point, that is not what is going on in any of those capacities in this conversation.
Okay, so I get to comment too.
Yeah.
In about 40 years of doing mobile home business, the first 15 as a fixer, and the last 25 as general manager and vice president. We chose to outsource. And the things that we would choose to outsource were things that we were not expert in. And I'll give you two good examples. Chassis. You want to take the liability to pull a 40,000 pound mobile home on a chassis that you're going to build yourself? So when we first went to the modular side, we outsourced them. And we benefited from it. And then when they went out of business, we went in and we went back to building them. Now our mobile home chassis, we continue to build. The other one was cabinets. The upgraded cabinets that we offered in our homes were outsourced. The everyday cabinets we built. We had good habits, we built them well, but we couldn't quite get that shine for the upgraded cabinets. In both cases, we spent more money outsourcing than if we had built them ourselves. We did it because of quality and consistency, and because those companies were expert at doing that. Our opportunity here has to do with expertise. Period. That's where our opportunity is. They have the people. They have the habits. They've got all of that is needed to provide good water and to make sure that our sewer is disposed of in a way that's legal as well as practical. So we'll most likely have these on the next agenda. Hang on. You're gonna let me finish, okay? Yeah. At the next meeting for a first reading. And now that Steve has already interrupted me, I think we should give him a chance to talk.
Are you done? I think we need to look at the stability of this also. I mean, if you lose 2 employees, the Alliance has the employees to fill those gaps. So I think you're looking at stability down the road too. And that's gonna save you fines or whatever down the road.
Good point.
And we have a long working relationship with Alliance.
That's true.
I can't remember how long, but as long as I've been on council, and I think that is very telling.
Andrew, did you have one more?
Yeah, I would just like to comment, we're not dealing with raw materials here, we're not dealing with anything else, we're dealing with environmental protection, regulated, DNR regulated, water treatment. This is a big deal, and I don't think anyone in this room feels the EPA will roll back guidelines going forward. Giving this over to the professionals for a 0.5% impact makes a lot of sense, and I think further, it protects the city from future potential liability and/or future potential expertise, which we technically just don't have. So, small increase, 0.5%, but for what we're getting back at the city, I do think it makes the most sense.
To counter that point, and it's the point that Barry made, I think, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, is that we as management people need to be in a better position to forecast what's coming and plan for that. If we knew we had a retirement coming, then we should have cross-training people in place to take those positions. So really what we've got here is really forced to take maybe a position we wouldn't otherwise have to have taken had we had people in place trained and ready to take over. So that's the flip side in my mind.
I still don't fully believe that
And
it
that's
takes.
fine, I mean, whatever you believe, you believe. But
I don't think that takes away from what we were looking at going forward into the future. So personnel management, personnel benefits, I think that still, point taken, Albert, but I think it still doesn't necessarily shield us from the fact that we have the opportunity now to make the change and it
Well, yeah,
quote
I
unquote
mean,
fits with the personnel.
Yeah,
So-
it's,
But point taken.
yeah.
I think you need to look at the size of the city. I mean, if you're the size of a city like Columbia, you got so many more employees to look at, the train and stuff. Boonville's a pretty small town. We just don't have that many employees that could, you know.
Well, again, final word, I mentioned a slippery slope, okay, and so that to me is a warning or advice or whatever you want to call it, that in the future, we need to prepare for these types of situations and not always look to outsource. That's my point.
Barry?
Point well taken. I mean, we knew Renita Bright was gonna retire. You know, I mean, she gave you notice she's gonna retire here pretty soon, right? And then the other guy had got sick. You know, I mean, we should have been cross-trained then. You know, I mean, when you had a job, just like Mr. Ned Beach was talking about, he cross-trained, didn't you, when you weren't running your plant? And just for the aspect of those people retiring or leaving, whatever, you had somebody walk in their place. We didn't have that. It is all of a sudden, here it goes, we're gonna go with the Alliance. You know what I mean? If we, you know what I mean, pre-planning is what we should be doing instead of just.
Okay, good point.
And one more. I agree here, everywhere. The other problem is finding people to work, and I know that's beyond the point. But to everybody's point, if you find somebody that will do a job and you can keep them somehow, it's worth its weight in gold. But I do understand the pre-doing this to find out if we're gonna do it later, you know.
Yeah, he said it, plan.
Planning.
I still think the cost savings for them buying chemicals is going to be more than the 20-some thousand a year. And that was kind of the point I was trying to make. Because right now on paper, it looks like, yeah, it's a net, you know, we're a plus. It's going to be more out of our pocket. One question that I know that we're going to get is, was this ever put out to bid process? I know we have a long-standing relationship with Alliance, but has this ever been put out?
No, and this isn't the sort of thing that would necessarily have to go out for bid, but I mean,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, I don't know who else is in the market, so I'm just,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I know that that's the question that we would get.
Okay. All right, it'll be on the next, agenda.
We can't act on it tonight?
No, it's gotta be done with the reading.
Okay.
I think I just needed some clarity, because I want to put something on the agenda again, just for it.
I see.
So I just needed to know where people were
Okay.
currently standing, or what direction they wanted to go in, and I think we'll just, for now, proceed.
Any other miscellaneous?
I had one miscellaneous, it was one on one of the bills that we had read for first time. On the planning and zoning, what are they doing with the parking lot? It didn't say what 512 Investments was doing. out there? Did they, what? They're just building a parking lot?
I don't,
I
they're
don't
built-
think,
there's
go
a-
ahead.
I was gonna say, there's a built, it has a building plan, but we don't know what's going there.
Okay,
I don't know what's going on.
who knows? All right. Because I know that we had, a couple of months ago, approved the, rezoning of the, I'm just, all right.
I don't know what they're. planning.
Inquiring minds, sorry.
Just a question on, on Bill 2023-007. So this is the Fox Hollow plat one. In the third paragraph, it references Boone Point.
Yeah,
I
we caught it
assume we need
changed
to do
for,
a
yeah, we got it changed
combined
for
Yeah,
the
we
second
got, we
reading.
got it all changed.
Okay, just
Yeah.
point of clarity.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
I
you.
Thank you.
assumed that
Thank
that was
you.
the case, but I want to, and I guess make sure the dates are up to date as well.
Good catch. Thank you. Albert?
Yeah, a couple of items. I probably only have a couple of 2 or 3 meetings left, and I guess I'm gonna look to you, Mr. Mayor, to give me advice. There was a couple of things that I had mentioned along the ways here that I'd like to see us act on, and it doesn't get lost in the narrative. One is a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned about a mark or some way to honor Dr. Martin Luther King, and I guess I'm asking you, Mr. Mayor, what is the best way for us to keep that issue alive? Where we can act on it.
I think this is not a real good answer, but it's the answer I have. We keep him alive because we pay attention. We keep him alive because we act as he would act. I don't know of any better way, honestly, to keep him alive
Well,
than that.
Yeah,
Now, as far as a public thing, I don't know, I'm not
I
expert
say
enough.
that, make that request of you because quite frankly, I have seen a number, since I've served here, I've seen a number of things come up and they go down and you don't hear about them anymore.
Yeah.
So I didn't want this to be a part of that. That's the reason why I bring that up. The second one is, and I know it's been brought up 2 or 3 different times, and frankly, I was a little disappointed just a couple of weeks ago. We had talked about, 2 or 3 of us on this council have talked about doing something about the traffic, the walking out on Ashley Road. And then, and we got responses to that, but we heard last week that the books are closed. The next time we can even make a request for a grant to do that is in 2025. So it looks to me like we may have missed an opportunity to do something there if we would have acted. And so, I think that is a situation that is going to be a problem for us if we're not careful. Because, I drive that road all the time, and there's people. Just the other night, I saw a guy walking on the side of the road. It was at night, and he was all in black. Seriously, he was in black, and I just really had to. So I think we need to act on that before something seriously happens out there. So those are the 2 items I'd like to see us for sure to keep alive if we could.
Good point.
We do need a turn lane out there on Ashley Road, because I almost ran to the back of a woman, because I was going up the hill and she had stopped right there, make a left turn to that new subdivision on Rolling Hills, and I had to swerve to my right, because I almost, so we need to do something about it.
When they go up that hill, a lot of them will get into the passing lane first. They don't even think about the slow lane.
I think that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Good point. Steve?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Michael? Jeff? Stand up and